delay of dialysis, it will be very nice. Okay, I'll start with the case and the questions for you. Please leave the light. Please leave the light. Please leave the light in the auditorium. Yes. So this is a virtual case, and this is a common scenario that we may have in our clinic. A patient, 65-year-old, male patient, diabetic, for 15 years, blood pressure 160 over 100, severe hypertension, creatinine 2 milligram per deciliter, estimated GFR 35. So, and albumin creatinine ratio is 500 milligram per gram creatinine. It's clear? The first question, what is the stage of chronic kidney disease here? This question for you. Yes?
Stage 3B. Stage 3B.
3B. Okay. Which formula is currently recommended to be used to classify the patients according to different stages of chronic kidney disease? Which formula? Yes? Yes. Okay. What is your blood pressure goal for this gentleman? The blood pressure is 160 over 100. So you will prescribe antihypertensive treatment to reach which goal?
Less than 1.
Give me just a figure.
Less than 130 over 80.
130, 80.
Over 80.
Okay. I'll answer the tour of my presentation. I'll try to answer the best answer for these according to the literature. If this patient is diabetic, hyperglycemic, what's your goal in glycemic control?
HbA1c of 8%.
Is it plasma glucose or glycated A1C? If you follow glycated A1C, which value you want to have? 6.5, 6, 7, 7.5, 6. Okay. When I say okay, it doesn't mean the answer is perfect, but just to continue. Do you recommend statin, adding statin for this patient? Either he has hypercholesterolemia or not. Do you recommend statin? All of you, yes? It's okay. Let me to concentrate on chronic kidney disease, because yesterday in the case that I mentioned in anemia, I got 40 milli per minute, and stated in stage 4, it is stage 3. But it was a mistake in the slide yesterday, and I corrected it. So how we classify? This is the final classification of chronic kidney disease. Depends upon estimated GFR, and this is the estimated GFR, and the presence of albuminuria. Currently, KDIGO recommend not using the terminology microalbuminuria. It is A1, A2, A3. Let me to clarify what's meant by A1, A2, or A3. A1 is considered when the person has albuminuria of 30 milligram per gram creatinine. So please, one of the messages here, when you have the lab result, please look at, is it milligram per gram or milligram per millimole? So if your lab use milligram per gram, The upper limit for A1 is 30, should be less than 30. And if the lab use milligram per millimole, the upper is 3. So to say this person is A1, should be less than 3 milligram albumin per millimole creatinine in urine. That's it. To say A2 or moderately increased albuminuria, this is the range. Either 30 to 300 milligram albumin per gram creatinine, and this, it's not necessary to collect urine through the day, just in spot urine, okay? Or 3 to 30 milligram per millimole creatinine. If you have values in this range above 300 milligram per gram or 30 milligram per millimole, or you have patient with nephrotic range proteinuria, this is A3. So the first point, I want to declare the albuminuria level. But be cautious. Why cautious? Because there is a bit falls in albumin creatinine in urine. So to consider it pathological, it should be persistent. 2 readings or more. Because even if a person exercises, you find albuminuria. If there's fever, you find transient albuminuria. So to consider albuminuria, it should be persistent. This is the first point. And we should know the limitations of albumin creatinine ratio. Suppose that my albumin excretion is static, and the patient has static albumin excretion, but for a reason or another, like muscle disease or malnutrition, the patient has muscle atrophy. If the patient has muscle atrophy or muscle weakness, you'll find creatinine high or low in urine, low. So if you divide albumin by low creatinine, you'll have false high albumin creatinine. So we should put in this mind. All these pitfalls in our mind. And just remember, Professor Magid Nahas, he's one of the prestigious professors from Egypt, and he worked a lot, all his experience in Sheffield, because he was the director of Sheffield Institute. He stated that albumin creatinine can be considered as ASR or C-reactive protein of the blood. So it is not specific. Okay? But anyhow, this is how to use them. A1, A2, A3. If we go back to the case, this is 500 milligram per gram creatinine, which, if we look at albuminuria, it is A1, O2, or A3, it is A3. So this is A3. Okay? Regarding estimated GFR, I agree with the doctor who said CKD epidemiology API equation is the recommended equation to be used in the current KDIGO guidelines. Why? Because it works well in the high GFR. And one of the major problems of MDRD equation, it doesn't work well with high GFR. So, if you apply MDRD equation and you find a split GFR above 70, above 60, 60 should just say above 60. It doesn't matter, 70, 80, 90, because MDRD equation is not accurate with high GFR. So according to the KDIGO guidelines, the preferred formula to be used to estimate GFR based on serum creatinine is CKD API equation. And very simple. Just to go to Google, write CKD API and fill in space, you find estimated GFR. And we have now some calculators that use the same software. Just fill in the space in a calculator, you can calculate GFR. It's very easy. Back to the staging. So here we have now complex staging, A1, A2, 3, yes. And here, how can we stage chronic kidney disease? It is primarily based on GFR, estimated GFR by formula, and albuminuria, resistant albuminuria. So, if you have a person and estimated GFR is above 90 milli per minute, when I say this patient has a stage 1 CKD, if you have a patient with estimated GFR 90 or more than 90, how can I say this is a person has chronic kidney disease? Because if we apply the cutoff point of GFR above 90, so all the world suffer from chronic kidney disease. No, to say estimated GFR above 90 is a stage 1 chronic kidney disease, I should have abnormal urine analysis. Either persistent albuminuria or persistent hematuria or abnormal ultrasound or abnormal electrolytes can be explained by renal dysfunction. Okay? Or the patient is subject to kidney biopsy and the biopsy shows abnormalities. So if we look at this green color, if estimated GFR above 60, and no albuminuria, no hematuria, nothing, this is a green color, refers to normal person. So I shouldn't say this person has chronic kidney disease. But if estimated GFR above 90 or equal 90, and there is A2 or A3, this is stage 1. If there is persistent hematuria, stage 1. And this is the same. Albuminuria persistent A2 or A3, stage 2. Suppose estimated GFR is 60, ultrasound is normal, urine is normal, this is normal kidney function. Because there is a big variability between persons regarding GFR. This is the most important point and should be considered. If you have a senior patient, 70 years, and estimated GFR 60, normal ultrasound, no urinary abnormalities, you shouldn't declare chronic kidney disease because this will be cumbersome, lead to anxiety with no benefit. This person enjoys normal kidney. But for senior patients, we should consider in our practice and our education or dealing with the patient and the person in general, each person is a person of risk of kidney disease. Why? Why the senior patient is considered a risk, or senior age is considered a risk for kidney disease? Why? Why? Do you know why? Since 2 years, the World Kidney Day activity was based principally on aged kidney. Because by age, we have limitation of reserve. There is an equation to expect the percentage of glomerular sclerosis by age. It is age divided by 2 minus 10. For example, if you are dealing with a young person, 20 years, 20 divided by 2 equals 10, minus 10 equals 0. This means if you do biopsy for a 20-year-old person, you find all the glomeruli are healthy, no sclerosis. But if this is the same person and lives until age of 80, for example, the same person is healthy, 80 divided by 2 equals 40, minus 10 equals 30. So 1/3 of the glomeruli are lost by the age factor. This is why the age is a limitation for reserve. And the aged persons are risky for kidney diseases when they are exposed to another hit. Okay? This is one of the principles. Again, if estimated GFR above 60, no urinary abnormality, this is a normal person according to kidney function. If there is A2 or A3, it is stage 1. If GFR above 90 or equal 90, from 60 to 90 is stage 2. Stage 3 starts from 60, irrespective to the presence or absence of urinary abnormality. Although this statement is challenged, because some patients in stage 3A, and by 3A I mean from 60 to 45, if you apply the most complex formula is to use creatinine and statin combined formula based on the epidemiology equation, you will find a percentage of these patients GFR above 60, and they are out of the domain of CKD. But let us go through this slide. If GFR between 45 to 60, below 60, it is stage 3A. And if the estimated GFR between 30 to 44, it is 3B. And if it is between 15 to 30, less than 30, it is grade 4 CKD. If it is less than 15 milliliter per minute, estimated GFR, you are dealing with chronic kidney disease stage 5. So, when I have a patient, I have creatinine, I should apply for the formula, looking at the urine and then assess the stages. So we may have here, it's better to say, this patient, if you apply this to our patient, this is estimated GFR 35 milliliter per minute. How can I express, how can I diagnose this case now? This gentleman has chronic kidney disease, it's stage 3B, okay, A3. So always consider the stage according to estimated GFR and albuminuria staging. Okay, so this is patient has chronic kidney disease, stage 3B, A3. Okay. Here, this is very nice to look at the color to know the risk. If the color is green, this is green, it's okay, everything is fine. The darker of the color toward the yellow, orange, and the red color is the risk is increasing. So from green to red, the risk is increasing. And the highest risk is belong to red color. Just look at the heat map, green, perfect, red, it is risky. So if you know this patient is risky, you will do your effort to decrease the exposure to another insult, to another hit. This is our strategy. So what is about the definition of progression? The progression, the definition is based on one of the following. Declining estimated GFR. If you have your patient today, stage 3, and after a period of 4, this is progression. So when we should say this is a rapid progression, according to the KDIGO guidelines, if you have drop in estimated GFR exceeding 5 milliliter per minute per year in average adult. Does it work? Working? عايزين تسمعني ولا عايزين؟ It's working. Yeah. So rapid progression is defined as evolution of estimated GFR by reduction exceeding 5 ml/min per year in an average adult. And the average adult, the surface area is 1.7 square meter. I said that if the color changes from green toward red, the risk increases. The risk for what? The risk for all-cause mortality. So the darker the color, the higher the risk for mortality. The higher the risk for cardiovascular mortality. For development of end-stage kidney disease, for the progression. So if you find the patient in the red zone, this means that the patient will progress rapidly. And higher the risk of acute kidney injury on top of chronic kidney disease. If we go back to this color map, if you have patient here in stage 3A, but A3, this patient has red color. So this patient is risky for rapid progression of chronic kidney disease. And to explain this meta-analysis, look here to the color code. We have blue color, green color, red color. If estimated GFR here above 60 and no A2 or A3, the blue color reflects A1, green color A2, red color A3. So if you are dealing with estimated GFR above 60 and no pathological albuminuria, the risk is the same as control. So there is no added risk. Suppose that the estimated GFR is still above 60, but there is A2 or A3, the risk increases, despite the estimated GFR is okay. So the message from this meta-analysis is we should look at the figure of estimated GFR. Is it below 60 or not? This is an independent risk. Even if it's above 60 and there is albuminuria A2 or A3, this is another risk. Okay? Now clear? So the predictor, what are the predictors of progression? Because we cannot prevent what we cannot predict. So the predictors are including age. Is age a modifiable factor? No. So we cannot work with age. Gender. We cannot change male to female and female to male. So all these are irreversible factors. But our intelligence is to search for modifiable predictors or modifiable risk factors. Because it is rational, if you put your hand on a modifiable factor, you will change even if you don't have an evidence from literature. You can expect that this will help a lot. Let's go to one by one. Blood pressure. Is it a risk factor for progression? Yes. So if the blood pressure is so high, uncontrolled, this is an independent risk factor for the progression toward the end-stage kidney disease. So one of the clear message is to have hypertension well controlled. But the question, which is debatable, to which target we should control blood pressure. This is the last update of blood pressure in general, according to the Joint National Committee AIDS report, and this is for general population. If the age above 60, blood pressure 150 over 90 is okay. And if the age is below 60, 140, 90 is okay. So when we deal with blood pressure, we should look at the age of the patient. Am I dealing with senior patient? I may have a target. This is for the general population. And this is very nice. Why it's very nice for us? Because if the target blood pressure is not so low, This means that we may use 1 or 2 drugs. Again, it will reduce the cost. But if you want a higher target of control, this means that you should use 3 or 4 drugs, and this will be an expense. Okay? So this is according to general population. Above 60, 150 to 90, it's okay. Below this age, in adults, above 18 years, 140 to 90 is okay. It's okay to go to these values. Then, if you are dealing with a patient with chronic kidney disease and not general population, I put here the blood pressure and the degree of albuminuria. And I want to ask you, if you are in the first row, blood pressure above 140/90, and the albuminuria is A1, what's your target here? What's the target here? If you have a patient with chronic kidney disease, and these are the demographics of these patients. Blood pressure 140/90 and albuminuria 30, below 30. What's your target blood pressure? Yes, please. Okay, I agree with you. So in this, if albuminuria is A1 and the patient is hypertensive, it's okay to go to just 140/90. This is accepted. Okay? And keep the kidney function well, and this is what we need. Which agent we should use? Is it angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor? Angiotensin receptor blocker? Calcium channel blocker? Beta blocker? Diuretic? Any agent can work here. So there is no evidence of superiority to use any agent. Any agent you would like to use, available, cheap, use it. And the evidence, the grade of evidence is recommendation based on good evidence, moderate evidence of research. So when we prescribe antihypertensive, we should look at all these factors and to individualize our management according to the patient's demographics. Okay? If the second row, you have a patient with blood pressure above 130 and 80 and albuminuria in A2, 30 to 300. Which target would like to have here? It is written with suggestion of answer because I say 130/80. And there is pathological albuminuria A2. So the target will be 130/80. And here you will have some suggestion to use either angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors or an angiotensin receptor blocker. But the evidence, if you have a patient with A2, is weak evidence. Suggestion based on very weak evidence of research. But if albuminuria is A3, this is a good evidence to use these agents that block renin-angiotensin system. So this is a map for management of hypertension in chronic kidney disease. Either your patient is diabetic or non-diabetic. Because before this modification, the guidelines give separate recommendation for diabetics and another for non-diabetic. So it's very simple now, just to look at this screen. If you are in the first row, use any agent to reach 140/90. If you are in this row or that row, here 130/80 is enough. And if you are here, there is a bonus to use this class of antihypertensive. This is one of the new recommendations from European best practice guidelines that were published in a separate issue in May this year regarding diabetic kidney disease for patients who are diabetic and the estimated GFR is less than 45. This means chronic kidney disease is stage 3B or higher, 3B, 4, or 5. If you have a patient with this, the question here in this sector of guideline, in patient with diabetes and CKD is stage 3B or higher, should we aim at lowering blood pressure target than in general population? The answer from the guidelines, they suggest against applying lower blood pressure target in patients with diabetes and CKD, stage 3B or higher, in comparison to general population. So just use the general population guidelines. So this is a newer modified guidelines. I like it. Why I like it? For diabetic. This is for diabetic only. But why I like it? Because it releases me from the high target blood pressure. So it is less expensive. And when I find any guidelines that recommend or suggest a less expensive modality, I like it and I use it. Why? Because we have limited resources. And then here they suggest if the patient, in patients with diabetes and stage 3B, 4 or 5, but without proteinuria, all blood pressure lowering drugs can be used equally. So I'll be happy. So if you have a patient who is CKD, regardless the stage, and he is diabetic, use in a drug so long as you don't have significant proteinuria. And this is the same as I mentioned in the previous slide. Here, if you would like to use ACE inhibitors or ARBs, which is better? Angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors or angiotensin receptor blockers? Which is better to be recommended? Yes, please. ACE inhibitor. Yes.
According to the type of diabetes, if type 2 it is better to use an RAAS. If type 1 it is better to use
I want to hear from you just one word. ARBs or ACE inhibitors?
According to diabetes,
Don't say according. ACE or ARBs?
RAAS is the best.
You say ARBs and you say ACE inhibitor. The European Best Practice Guideline, and this is a recommendation, the new recommendation. They recommend that adults with CKD, C3B or higher, or even on dialysis and diabetes, who have a cardiovascular indication like heart failure, ischemic heart disease, be treated with ACE inhibitor at maximal tolerated dose. And the use of ACE inhibitors is linked to better outcome because we don't have evidence toward the superiority of angiotensin receptor blockers. But when should I use angiotensin receptor blockers? If the patient has problems with ACE inhibitors, like cough and genetic edema, at this point I may be obliged to use angiotensin receptor blockers. But de novo treatment should start with ACE inhibitor because the evidence is toward the superiority of ACE inhibitors. Regarding glycemic control, if you are dealing with diabetic, I asked you and you said 6.5 A1C, and you said that A1C is superior to plasma glucose. My question to you, is there a problem to use A1C in diabetic and in chronic kidney disease? Or by another way, is A1C an accurate therapeutic moratorium for diabetic control in chronic kidney disease? Is it inaccurate? Why is it not accurate? And what is the effect of anemia on A1C? Decrease or increase? So I explain to you what we have in the practical way, either to monitor plasma glucose or to look at A1C, or there are other methods like glycated albumin. Which is better in chronic kidney disease? The better is to look at plasma glucose, and you may have a hint or clue from A1C. Why A1C is not an accurate monitoring system in chronic kidney disease patients? Because the environment of chronic kidney disease has factors that lead to false high or false low A1C. What are the causes of false high A1C? Anemia is one of the causes. Acidosis is one of the causes. Uremia is one of the causes. All these are causes for false high A1C. What are the causes of false low? The use of anemia management. So iron therapy and ESA therapy can lead to false low. Why false low? Because they increase the production of new red cells. And new red cells are not acquainted with glucose like the ordinary red cells. So this is why anemia is the cause for false high, and anemia management is the cause for false low. Despite all these limitations, A1C still is practical to be used in chronic kidney disease. But the recommendations is not to use 6.5, because 6.5 A1C will be associated with more hypoglycemia, and hypoglycemia is hazardous for the patient. KDIGO guidelines recommends to using level of A1C approximate 7. And even if the patient suffers from episodes of hypoglycemia, I may use even higher level, even up to 8 A1C. So we should be careful, because patients with chronic kidney disease are risky for hypoglycemia. So this is what you find here. And this is very wise, the using of knowledge in a wise way. If you are dealing with if you look at this risk potentially associated with hypoglycemia and other drug adverse effects, if the risk is low, be tight in control of glycemia. If the risk is high, be less tight in management of glycemia. If the patient disease duration of chronic kidney disease is very long, be less tight. If there is a lot of comorbidities, don't be so tight. So this is, if you find the patient in this side, less tight control is recommended. If is in this domain, be tight in your control. I answered this. And this is one of the most important issues. When you treat your patients, know the risk of hypoglycemia. How to predict the risk? Again and again, colors. Colors have clue. Green color means low risk of hypoglycemia. Yellow color, moderate risk. Red color, high risk of hypoglycemia. So these are the medications which are associated with low risk of hypoglycemia: metformin, alpha-glucosidase inhibitors, DDP4 inhibitor, incretin mimetic, etc. And here, the short-acting sulfonylurea, moderate risk. Look here, I'm interested by this. Even if the patient is just stage 5 CKD, this is a high risk for hypoglycemia. So should we take care of our patients because they are in a risk of hypoglycemia. This is a very nice map. All of us should know it, should look at it when you use any drug. And this is a summary of all available anti-hyperglycemic drugs. Here we look at pharmacokinetics, dose modification. If we look, for example, at metformin, if estimated GFR above 30, This means that we are in stage 1 or 2, no problem of using metformin. If your patient is stage 3, be limited to this dose. And currently, this was published in 2014. Currently, there are some reports about mortality of the use of metformin in stage 4 and 5. So in stage 4 and 5, don't use metformin. If we look at the guideline, the up-to-date and the FDA recommendation, if serum creatinine above 1.5 milligram per deciliter in men or above 1.4 in women, don't use metformin in these patients. It's very simple advice. But if you follow estimated GFR, if estimated GFR above 60, no problem. From 60 to 30, cautious, and below 30, don't use it. Okay? If you look to add this color, this drug, if this drug is still available in your country, it is red color here. This means not to be used at all for all stages of chronic kidney disease. So green color means to be used safely, yellow color needs modification, red color not to be used. And if the color is like this, there is no available data. So it's a very nice summary, just a map giving you an idea about all drugs available and all classes. And there is another map in the glycemic control giving the pharmacodynamic, the cardiovascular problem, mortality. Now we'll shift to statin. Do you recommend the use of statin to treat our patients, chronic kidney patient? Yes or no? Dr. Yasser?
Yes, in CKD, yes. Dialysis, no.
Okay. Who agrees with Dr. Yasser? I agree with him. So this is a meta-analysis that was published 3 years ago discussing the issue. Should we use statin in kidney diseases? And they categorize the patients either chronic kidney disease, hemodialysis, or transplant. They looked at mortality, cardiovascular mortality, or cardiovascular events. If the patient has CKD, there is a beneficial effect of use of statin, decreasing the relative risk of mortality by 20%, 25%. So it's beneficial to use statin, not because it will lead to retardation or progression of chronic kidney disease, but will improve the cardiovascular system. Okay? In hemodialysis, there is no benefit of the use, no effect, the same, the relative risk, either to use or not, the same relative risk regarding the vascular system. So, as Dr. Yasser mentioned, in dialysis, we don't like to use statin because even it may increase symptomatology related to muscles. And there is no evidence of beneficial effect regarding cardiovascular mortality. In transplantation, it is debatable. So, to our patients, use statin if the patient in the CKD before dialysis. What about the updated guidelines in last May? The same. They recommend starting statin in patients with stage 3B or higher. Recommendation based on good evidence. They suggest statin in stage 5. And the strongest evidence is not to use them if the patient in dialysis. So these are this 1A means recommendation based on the best level of research. So this is the guidelines. If you have your patients CKD, stage 2 and 3, up to down to 4, use statin liberally. And you don't use statin to treat cholesterol. Use statin to protect the heart and vessels. But if the patient in stage 5 is just suggestion. If the patient on dialysis, no, don't start statin. The question is, if I have a patient who is CKD and the state progressed to dialysis, and now he is in dialysis, and he's already on statin, should I stop it? Dr. Yasser, if the patient on statin and start dialysis, should I stop statin? Yes or no?
Statin can lead to side effects.
I want to, yes or no?
Yes, I can stop it.
There is no agreement, so there is no evidence to use it or to leave it. And I think it should be left to the individual characteristics of the patient. If the cardiologist recommends statin and if the patient is already on statin, leave it. If you are not sure of the indication, stop it. So it is according to your preference, according to your evaluation. Again, statin should be used in every case, in all patients with CKD for the care of the heart and vessels. Shouldn't be used as a nephrologist. I shouldn't start them in dialysis population because there is no benefit. But if the patient is maintained on statin because of cardiology or any reason or another, I leave. And one point here I remember. The higher cholesterol in dialysis, this I mentioned to you yesterday in the dialysis clinic, dialysis outpatient there. If you have a patient who comes to the dialysis and the pre-dialysis laboratory parameter shows hypercholesterolemia, I like this patient, I love this high cholesterol. In general population, we don't like high cholesterol, but in dialysis we like it. Why? Because in dialysis, this reverse epidemiology or dialysis paradox. The higher the cholesterol level, the higher the survival in dialysis. And this is to the reverse of the general population. And so this is another reason why we don't like to start statin to dialysis patients. One of the most important messages, if you like to use statin in chronic kidney disease, and I recommend the usage of statins so long as the patient is not on dialysis, be careful because there is a drug dosage modification. Suppose that your estimated GFR is at 45 ml per minute, the maximum dose of atorvastatin, for example, is just 20 milligrams. So don't listen to the company to increase the dose to 80 milligrams. 80 milligrams, this is for general population. But for patients with CKD, stage 3B, 4 or 5, the maximum is 20. So if I start with 10, and then when we increase it to 20, this is the maximum dose. And the slide summarizes all other molecules. So look at the molecule and know the maximum. Don't exceed the maximum. If estimated GFR is below 45. Another player that we would like to modify, if we would like to retard the progression, uric acid. One of the most prestigious professors, Richard Johnson, the editor-in-chief of Kidney International Journal, when I met him, he's one of those persons who likes very much to treat uric acid, who always prescribe the hypoglycemic therapy to his patients. But he starts with very small dose, even 50 milligram andronol, and increasing very slow. Okay? So why uric acid is associated with the progression of chronic kidney disease? Because of endothelial dysfunction, increasing endothelial dysfunction, increasing inflammation, increasing oxidative stress, and heightened renal and retention system. So from the pathophysiology, it is linked to progression. But when the KDIGO reviewed this issue, the guidelines doesn't reach final conclusion. So they left the doctors who believes in treating hyperglycemia to treat, and who declined the idea according to the doctor preference. Why? Because they don't find solid evidence supporting the general treatment, the treatment of all patients with CKD by hypoglycemic therapy if there is high uric acid. And also because allopurinol is associated with side effects like skin rash, etc. So but this month, this is one of the articles showed that of febuxostate, 40 milligram per day, can help a lot. And this is 6 months double-blind randomized control study. But the number of patients is low in this study, small. So I think when you read all the detailed evidence and all the literature in the last 2 years, you will find it tipped to our treatment of hyperuricemia, to retard the progression of chronic kidney disease. So the wisdom, use hyperuricemic therapy in a modified dose, start low and go slow so long as you have hyperuricemia and chronic kidney disease. And monitor the side effects. If you find side effects, review yourself. But nowadays there is a bonus toward treating hyperuricemia to retard the progression of chronic kidney disease. Lifestyle, all the guidelines, and one of these guidelines they made this year, recommend the patient to move, to walk. So controlled exercise is mandatory for all patients, for CKD patients and even dialysis. Since 2 years, we have a presentation in this course, exercise in hemodialysis. Exercise in hemodialysis have at least 15 benefits. I'm not going to explain, but it's beneficial. Controlled exercise according to patient's capabilities. And even during the dialysis itself, you can put on the bed some exercise modality. So I encourage exercise. And this is one of the new articles, relatively new, showing that encouraging physical exercise reduces the progression of kidney disease. Nutrition. And we have today Dr. Dua that she will give us her perspectives regarding the nutrition therapy in our patients. And this is one of the recent studies shows that the use of high dietary acid load predict interstitial disease among adults with chronic kidney disease. And this is, as you see here, the risk for progression increases if the patient consumes high acid load. How can I know acid load? This is the task of dietitian. Just review the diet. If it is protein, adding factor. If it is fruits and vegetable, factor by minus. So fruits and vegetables reduces acid load, but protein increases acid load. At the end, the nutritionists say this high acid load. High acid load is associated with progression of chronic kidney disease. So it seems that the nutrition therapy has a beneficial effect, and we should educate ourselves. We should have dietitian in our service. So if you have a dialysis unit, you should have dietitian. Because as nephrologists, we just ask here, we would like to have diet low in phosphorus but high in protein. You cannot imagine that we can have diet with high protein and low phosphorus. She can prescribe and she can select from the nutritions which achieves your goal. So again and again and again, taking care of our patients is multidisciplinary. We cannot do all things by our own. One of the important points that to retard the progression of chronic kidney disease, we should take care of blood pressure, we should take care of glycemic control, we look at nutrition, lifestyle, and now I'm shifting to metabolic acidosis. Because usually we monitor blood pressure, but we don't monitor by serum bicarb in our CKD patients. My advice is we should take care of acidosis. And if we have a patient with CKD stage 2, for example, or 3, and there is no hyperkalemia, I may encourage fruits and vegetables. Because fruits and vegetables are equipotent like oral supplementation of sodium bicarb. And to correct the acidosis to have a benefit, you should maintain this correction over years. So we should start early correcting acidosis to get the benefit of retarding the progression. Why acidosis is associated with this progression? Because of all these impairment, endothelial activation, RAAS activation, complement activation. At the end of the day, you'll find interstitial fibrosis and the progression of kidney disease. So we should early, and this is the KDIGO guidelines, recommends bicarb to be less than, should be more than 22. If you have serum bicarb less than 22, we should treat these patients by oral supplementation of bicarb, or to give them early fruits and vegetables. Sleep disturbance. So we should take care of the sleep, because healthy sleep is associated with appropriate and less progression of kidney dysfunction. So we should take care of sleep hygiene or good sleep style. For example, obstructive sleep apnea is the highest of the spectrum that's associated with progression of chronic kidney disease. But even sleep disturbance without obstruction is associated as well with progression. Why? Because sleep disturbance reflect sympathetic overactivity, and this may lead to vasoconstriction and disturbance of the kidney. Smoking. We should educate ourselves. We should educate the patients. We should ask the patient in the history, the outpatient clinic, do you smoke? Yes. Stop it, please. Because it's associated with, not with cardiac, lung, no. It's associated with progression of kidney disease. It will hasten the progression, and you will need dialysis earlier if you smoke. Because smoking is kidney poison. So we should stop it. Drugs. We should know how to use our drugs. Because drugs can lead to glomerular disease, tubular disease, interstitial disease, vasculitis, or vascular insult. So any part of the kidney is affected by drug use. So we should limit the use of drug to the high indication and using the drugs properly. This one of the nice reviews showed that drugs may impair all the constituents of the glomerulus. Podocytes, endothelial cells, mesangium, all these components are affected by the drugs. What this? Do you know what this? What this? What this? This is a astrological plant present in the Balkan countries. The seeds of this plant can contaminate the wheat, and you can eat wheat in loaves, and then we eat this astrologia seeds. Astrologia lead to interstitial fibrosis, chronic interstitial nephritis, and oncogenesis. So why I put this here, and this occurs in Balkan, because when they have this astrologia contamination or adulterations in herbal remedies coming from China. So this is an advice against the use of any herbal remedies. You may ask me, I reviewed one of the herbal remedies and I find it is beneficial. Yes, it's beneficial, but should be purified. The problem of herbal remedies is adulteration or contaminations. So there is a lot of impurities added to herbal remedies. Do you know what are the major impurities added to herbal remedies? They added non-steroidal, laxative, diuretics. Why? Because when I take the herbal remedies, after taking this herbal remedies, I feel that my joints are okay because there is non-steroidal. And there is no constipation, no straining. So I say to myself, fantastic. But in the long run, I paid the price by renal failure. Another important point that should be respected, we shouldn't take our knowledge from the media, from the net. Should be careful to use the knowledge from proper peer-reviewed journals, because a lot of data present in the net are fake data, just promotions to the companies. And we are responsible about the drugs we prescribe. One of the important points that we have in the general clinics, so we should educate our colleagues from other specialties. If you deal with the patient and find a progression, if the patient in this colors, monitor, and if this in red color, please refer the patient to nephrologist. So we should educate them when should they refer the patients, because early referral is essential for better outcome. And this is how to monitor, even to monitor the patient frequency of the visits. If the patient in the green color, once yearly, annually, it's okay. And then in this area, 3 visits per year. In this area, 4 visits per year, unless the situation states more and more visits. And this is one of the important points, good hydration. But not misconception. We should, when we educate the patient towards good hydration, we should specify the amount of volume to be drained. Because if you say to the patient, please be good hydrated, and then he drinks a tank of water, what will happen? Volume overload and hyponatremia. Because the kidney, if the kidney impaired, if you have a patient with chronic kidney disease, one of the functions that are impaired is renal concentration. There is defect of concentration and dilution. So if there is defect of urinary dilution, what happens? If I drink a lot of water, it will be retained. If water is retained, it's lead to hyponatremia, volume overload. So good hydration, but not over. So when I advise, if the weather is hot, I can take 3 liters or 4 liters. I can say to the patient, according to your urine, if your urine output 2 liters, 3 liters is okay, 4 liters is okay. So according to the weather. So we hydrate, but not too much, because too much hydration is hazardous. And this is one of our activities here in last March. This is Dr. Adina Abdul Latif, who is responsible for the World Kidney Day activity in Egypt. And we coordinate, and this is in March 2015, the main idea and the main education is to encourage people to drink water. To drink water, but in a healthy way, in a sufficient amount and not too much. And this is another campaign here in the university, World Kidney Day activity, and here you can find in this brochure, they recommend against visceral obesity, recommend against smoking, to drink water, and this is a collection of our colleagues, our students, and doctors. Here, this is very nice. Why very nice? Because it is our activity in Sohag in Upper Egypt cities, and me and Dr. Osama were there on December 3 to 5th December this month. And we have a lot of activities, campaigns to educate doctors, nurses, pathologists, and as well to meet the general population there. And this is one of the medical students working with us, and they are hopeful and cheerful. They measure blood pressure, diabetes, blood glucose for 750 person, and if they discover any person with abnormality, just giving them card for follow-up there in University Hospital. And this is the team. This is Professor Ali Taha, the Chief of Internal Medicine Department at Sohag, Professor Kamal Saadi, and you will see him. He is the current president of Egyptian Society of Nephrology. Professor Tariq Al-Baz, you will see him on Thursday. He is the past president of Egyptian Society of Nephrology. Dr. Adina, and one of the Professor Hussein Sheashaa, you will see him today. He is a professor of nephrology at Al-Qasr al-Ain. So we sit in this environment just for 1.5 hours to answer questions for general population. So they asked us about anything related to their health, and we answer in this campaign. And I like this activity. What was added in this outreach program is to measure the waist circumference to blood pressure and blood glucose. Very nice. At the end, this is the case. It is a stage 3B, A3. 3B because estimated GFR is less than 45, and A3 because albuminuria is 500 milligram per gram creatinine. And which formula I would like to use and to generalize is epidemiology equation. And we may use MDRD equation if we are dealing with established CKD, because it works well in the established CKD. Which blood pressure goal we would like to have with this patient. Here, I think if we reach 130/80, because here we have significant albuminuria, this will be good, but we can accept transient period of 140/90, and then to decrease it to 130/80 and not less than that, because we don't have evidence for superiority of this low target level. Which agent to be used? We can use here ACE inhibitors. Why ACE inhibitors? Because we have A3, high blood pressure in chronic kidney disease with A3. But I want to give you another message. If you would like to use ACE inhibitors, and you can see converting enzyme inhibitor, please follow the standard of care in prescription. What is the standard of care of prescription of ACE inhibitor? I want to listen, to hear from you. When you prescribe captopril, for example, to your patient, what should we do? Yes? We should measure serum creatinine before giving the drug. And we should repeat creatinine measurement after a week. If we find any rise of creatinine, we should repeat after another week, until we are sure that the peak of rise doesn't exceed 30% of the baseline creatinine. Okay? Suppose that you continue or maintain your patient on a regular dose, and you decided today to increase the dose. If you increase the dose, before increasing the dose, measure creatinine, and measure it again after a week. Any rise, you should repeat, keeping an eye on creatinine. The maximum accepted should be within 20% to 30% of baseline. Because beyond this will be risky and will be associated with renal damage. At this point, this class will not be nephroprotective, it will be nephrotoxic. Again, no creatinine before, measure creatinine before, measure creatinine after 1 week. If no rise, it's okay. If there is a rise of creatinine, repeat after another 1 week. If you find at any time points the rise exceeds 30% of the baseline creatinine, stop the drug immediately. If it's still rising but doesn't reach this cutoff point, repeat measurement until it declines. The accepted rise should be within 20 to 30% of baseline. What's meant by 20 to 30% baseline? Suppose that the baseline is 1 milligram per deciliter. We can accept up to 1.3 as a maximum. So if today 1 milligram per deciliter, after 1 week is 1.1, I repeat the next week, another reading, 1.2 I should repeat. If after 1.2 it becomes 1.1, so the maximum rise is within the accepted and safe zone. This is the standard of care of the use of angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors and angiotensin receptor blockers. And we are responsible to do this. If we don't do this, we will harm the drug. What is your glycemic control? Here, because of chronic kidney disease, A1C around 7 is accepted. And if the patient suffers from hypoglycemia, we may increase it to 7.5. Do you recommend the statin? Yes. We recommend the statin because this is stage 3B and the patient is not on dialysis, so this is recommendation. And the level is recommendation, not suggestion, recommendation. Okay. So, changing the face of CKD is our responsibility. And we may have something to do, even cheap, in our countries, to hold the progression, or at least to delay the progression. So your life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. So we should change our style in treatment, should educate patients, educate ourselves, educate other specialties, work in a team. And thank you very much for attention. And now I leave the stage. Dr. Sana will introduce you to
Thank you, Prof Hussein. I feel like I'm blending. I was flying in the start. Now I am landing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank
Sana.
you very much.